Maryland, their first tour through the Big Ten brings them to Madison, Wisconsin. And a win today would mean bowl eligibility before October ends. For Wisconsin, they're back to work after a bye. And in a wide-open West, the Badgers are hoping a second-half surge leads them to Indy. Badgers and Terrapins next. Wisconsin winning the toss. They have deferred. Maryland will receive, and Gary Anderson's team will be on defense first. He's standing by with Lisa Byington.
Yeah, Coach, you're going to start with Joel Stave here today, but how do you manage both your quarterbacks here this afternoon?
Well, you know, they're both in the game plan, and Coach Ludwig will handle that depending on the flow of the game and the success each young man has. But they've handled it well. They both expect to play, and they both expect to play well.
Last week, Maryland was prepared for Iowa's run attack. How do you feel like they will challenge yours here today?
Well, they played very well in the run. You know, a week ago, we have to run the ball to be effective, so it's going to be a big boy fight in those trenches.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at our Auto Owners Insurance impact players with Maryland getting the football.
Well, you got to start with Stephon Diggs, 45 receptions on the year, including a 53-yarder against Iowa. Dion Long, the other wide receiver, 27 receptions on the year. And Warren Herring at that defensive end position gets some depth in the defensive line.
Missed those last 5 games. They've not seen him on the field since the LSU game. Mentioned a beautiful day. Winds a little brisk out of the northwest at 12 miles an hour, but 60 degrees. Barely a cloud in the sky today in Madison, Wisconsin. Late October weather, yeah, we'll take it for this early start here in Madison.
What's the date? 60 degrees?
Wow, not bad at all. Endicott getting ready to kick things off for Wisconsin. Andrew Endicott has a tough task because Stephon Diggs, the best in the nation in kick returns, and he is ready to get it going. We're ready to get it started as well. We're underway in Madison. And Endicott with a good leg into this one takes Diggs' return out of the equation as he takes a knee in the touchback for Maryland. And C.J. Brown making his way onto the field. And C.J. Brown in his 6th year at Maryland, 23-year-old graduate student. The injuries in 2010 and 2012 derailing his seasons, but last year 2,000 pass yards, 500 rush yards, and C.J. Brown, he is the engine that makes this offense go both through the air and on the ground.
Most defensive coordinators would rather run an immobile quarterback rather than one like this. You know, he has 8 career 100-yard rushing games. They'll have to account for him.
From the 25-yard line on first down. The give is to Ross. And Ross with a little hole out to the 33-yard line. Good start on the ground as Derek Landish has the tackle after an 8-yard gain. Brandon Ross just over 250 yards rushing on the year as Brown to the air for the first time and throws it low, intended for Dion Long, and it's third down.
One of the things that Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator for Wisconsin, really stressed this year, they need more negative yard plays. And to do that, you'll see him die up a lot of pressures. They play a 3-4 defense, so a lot of times to get that 4th man coming, you'll see a linebacker blitzing.
27% of the time this year, Maryland has gone 3 and out, trying to avoid it on their opening drive here. Diggs in motion. The keep by Brown, and he'll get the first down. C.J. Brown tackled by Peniel Jean at the 37-yard line to pick up a 5.
Well, he fakes that blast sweep right there, the option, then takes the ball right up the middle. One thing with that motion, it gets everybody's focus on the motion back, and sometimes you forget about the quarterback.
On first down, this time it's Kenneth Goins Jr., and he goes nowhere. Maybe a half-yard just across the 37-yard line, but Michael Caputo, so strong in run support, comes up to make the stop.
Yeah, there's a guy that used to play linebacker, and now he's back at that strong safety position. Good size, 6'1", 212 pounds. When you watch film, he is all over the place.
3 backs now with Searski and Vey in the backfield, and there was some movement early that threw things off. Long trying to find a little running room on the edge, and he's down just shy of the 40-yard line.
One thing that is so critical when you play a spread offense, the intention of the spread is to get ball into skilled receivers out wide as quickly as you can. And that's why this errant snap throws their timing off a little bit. But then as a defense, you got to close, and you can't give them that hidden yardage.
3rd down and 7. Ross with Brown in the backfield. 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Now Ross motioning out on 3rd and 7. 4-man pressure. They set up the screen. Hayward with running room. Hayward to the 40 inside the Wisconsin 35 and down at the 33. Derek Landish finally caught him, but 27 yards later. And Derek Hayward with a 1st down.
Well, credit Mike Locksley, the offensive coordinator. He assumes he's going to get pressure right here. So what do? You call either a draw or a screen. He calls a screen, and there it goes.
First catch for Derek Hayward, and a big one for Maryland at the 33-yard line of Wisconsin on 1st down. Looking for running room is Goins. Or rather to the outside, and Schobert with the tackle. Goins took it up the middle, and C.J. Brown, not much running room to the outside.
We talk about this often, Kevin, but there's a lot of different spreads. But when you have a running quarterback in the spread, and then you can add the ability to run option, which you saw right there, that really limits what you can do defensively.
2nd down and 8 at the 31. Brown tosses to Diggs, and Stephon Diggs can't pull it in. And that's maybe not a bad incompletion for Maryland. He had 3 Badgers surrounding him as he got that ball towards his hands.
Well, Badgers brought pressure off the edge, which made C.J. throw the ball a little high, but it was well defended. If he would have caught that, he would have been tackled immediately.
Maryland in field goal range. Brad Craddock has hit 18 straight, including a 57-yarder earlier this year against Ohio State.
Wisconsin has not given up any points this year on opening drives.
3rd down and 8 at the 31. Brown under heat, able to get away, and C.J. Brown tripped up near the 35-yard line. Boy, that pressure, fast, furious, and ferocious. Joe Schobert providing the heat initially, and then Arthur Goldberg there to help finish it off.
You know, gutsy call by Dave Aranda. Last 3rd down, they brought a blitz, and what did Maryland do? They dropped off the screen and went big yards. This 3rd down, here I come again.
And instead of the long field goal try, they're going to try to play the field position game. And Nathan Renfro, who is tied for the Big Ten lead with 14 punts inside the 20, will try to get his 15th and pin Wisconsin deep.
Maryland calls their 1st time out.
Well, you know, Maryland, they watch film too. They saw the Northwestern game. That's what Northwestern did, and Wisconsin had to play in the long field the whole heck game.
Randy Edsall going to take a timeout and talk about it. No score early on here in Madison.
Football on BTN is presented by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. And brought to you by Go RVing. Find the RV that's right for your tailgate at GoRVing.com.
Not a bad way to celebrate with your RV in the parking lot as we get started on 4th down, and the offense back out on the field for Maryland on 4th and 12 at the 35-yard line of Wisconsin.
I'm surprised at this call.
They're 6 for 6 on 4th down this year. And they're trying to make some movement occur. Brown on 4th and 12. Steps away from pressure, floats it for Diggs, and the pass is incomplete. At the 15-yard line, Michael Caputo knocked it away, and now Wisconsin with good field position at the 35.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm surprised. I started mentioning before we went to the break, Northwestern did an unbelievable job of punting the ball down, making Wisconsin go the long distance, playing the long side of the field. I'm just surprised that at that down and distance on 4th down that they changed their mind and they went for it.
Caputo Caputo in on a couple of plays, stymieing that drive for Maryland as Joel Stave goes to work on first down. Watt at fullback, Gordon at running back. And Melvin Gordon on first down, his first carry. Good patience, and Gordon out to the 43-yard line, an 8-yard pickup. Our Auto Owners Insurance impact players for the Wisconsin Badgers on offense.
Well, you know I'm going to start with Melvin Gordon's 4 straight games of 175 yards or more. We talked about Derek Watt. You just saw him in there at the fullback position on the lead ISO play. Did a great job. And then Andre Monroe at defensive end. Wisconsin wants to throw the ball better. They better protect against this guy. 20 career sacks.
Motion from Fumagalli on second and short. Gordon the carry again. Got a block. Gordon's got a first down into Maryland territory at the 49. Yannick Cujo-Virgil on the stop for Maryland, and Melvin Gordon, no surprise, 2 carries and a first down for Wisconsin.
Well, you would think that they would start off with running him, averaging almost 8 yards a carry. I'd turn around and give it to him every down until you put about 12 guys in there to stop him, because of that offensive line, and with all the motions and everything they do, it's really hard for any defense to get the right fits.
Averaging almost 9 yards per carry his last 4 games at 217 yards per game. Play action. Stave to the air. He's got a man open. It's Erickson deep. He's got it inside the 10-yard line. Alex Erickson over William Likely, and it's first and goal Badgers at the 6.
Well, you can see that call coming. You throw it, you run the ball a couple times, it will come off with the play action, move the pocket. This has become his go-to guy, Alex Erickson, with Abadaris no longer playing for the Badgers. He's really developed into a really good receiver. Some guys make plays, some guys don't. Erickson makes plays.
Nice throw by Stave as well. First down and goal at the 6-yard line. Gordon picking his way forward, banging his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Touchdown of the year for Melvin Gordon, and welcome back Derek Watt, who sprung the opening with a key block.
Yeah, you know, watching the film, the play that really jumped out at me that they execute well is when they have 2 backs in there. I don't know if it's an ISO or a lead zone. It's a combination of both. They know how to run that play.
Melvin Gordon takes it into the end zone, but he doesn't get the chance to do that without the longest pass play of the season for Wisconsin. 43 yards to Alex Erickson, and then Melvin Gordon doing what he does best. 14th time this year, number 25 has found the end zone. Engineers of the scoring drive. Joel Stave with the long pass. Melvin Gordon with his 14th touchdown, now tied with Amir Abdullah atop the Big Ten for rushing touchdowns this year. The last 4 games we referred to it a moment ago, but what a run Melvin Gordon is on. No pun intended, run for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, the one thing that jumps out there, the 27 carries, 259 yards to a loss to Northwestern. And that wasn't his fault. He did his part, even though he apologized to Coach Anderson after the game. That's the type of attitude that young man.
Stephon Diggs back deep. Another good kickoff. Pushes him to the touchback. A T-Mobile studio update now as we head to Chicago with Dave Revsine.
Kevin, thanks. Nebraska has the early lead on Rutgers. Tommy Armstrong, a 16-yard touchdown run, his 3rd score on the ground this year, 7-0 Nebraska.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. And Nebraska off to a good start. We saw them last week against Northwestern. They were a second-half team a week ago, off to a quick start at home against Rutgers. The other new Big Ten team this year, Maryland, down 7-0 here early on the road in Camp Randall. C.J. Brown, the offense went 10 plays before, but could not convert on 4th down for the first time this year. The pass incomplete, intended for Dion Long near the 40-yard line. Maryland, though, on the road. They have been road warriors and very successful ones, Glenn Mason. Over the last 5 games, those W's, that's a good thing.
It's always been amazing to me how some teams struggle on the road and other teams seem to play better on the road than they play at home. So obviously these guys like them. They don't like it right now in Camp Randall, but they're not done fighting yet.
Diggs the motion man. He gets the toss on the option, nowhere to go, and down in the arms of Darius Hillary. Well defended by Wisconsin. A slow developing play and nowhere with Hillary right in the way.
Well, it was slow developing because it was an option play, and when you take it out there and pitch it, and there's that many red shirts there, you've got to think that there's got to be an option pass someplace in that playbook.
Gary Anderson says Darius Hillary is the most consistent guy technique-wise on that defense. Strong technique there. 3rd and 14 at the 21-yard line. Brown under heat, the ball's out. Strip and sacked back near the 15-yard line. Covered up by Maryland, but the Badger defense getting it done. Ryan Doyle covered the fumble by C.J. Brown.
Wisconsin plays a 3-4 defense. You see more teams do that because of the spread offense. And one of the big problems, it gives you a lot more options compared to 4th down and line as far as the type of blitzes and twists you can use. A lot of confusion by Maryland right there.
Joe Schobert, you see there with the strip, and then in to finish off was Marcus Trotter. On to punt is Maryland. A lot of pressure. A little bump for the punter, no flag, and a fair catch called for and made by Doe at the 47-yard line. Excellent field position for Wisconsin after the punt from Renfro. Maryland had the chance for the field position game on their end, went for it on their first drive on 4th down. Wisconsin marched down the field and scored, and now the Badgers coming back to work. Nearly had it deep in their own end. The pressure almost got to Renfro. Weeknights join the conversation on BTN Live. It's the most comprehensive nightly college football discussion from the guys who love to talk about the game. BTN Live, weeknights at 6 Eastern on BTN. Two head coaches, Coach Edsall, Coach Anderson, patrolling the sidelines. Wisconsin with a 7-0 lead. I got my own coach up here in the booth, Glenn Mason. I'm Kevin Cooper, Lisa Byington with us on the sidelines. Joel Stabby and company back to work for their second possession from the 47-yard line. Play action. Stabby back to the air over the middle, and it's caught once more. It's Erickson again, this time to the 37-yard line of Maryland, and a good start for Joel Stabby. 2 for 2, 2 strong throws early.
Yeah, Stabby was the starting quarterback before. Last year he was the quarterback, and 61% completion. He struggled this year with what best be described as a confidence problem. Well, that first pass to Alex Erickson and then coming right and starting this series, completing that ball, what do you think that does for his confidence?
2 excellent throws, both picking up first down yardage. At the 37-yard line of Maryland, first down. Denzel Doe on the sweep, trying to find a little running room out there. Well defended by Maryland. Nowhere to go as Doe is down at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Tackle made by William Likely, who came out from corner, and Keith Bowers out there to make the stop.
Well, you can see they put in motion. You don't know if they're going to put the ball right up the middle or give it to the motion man, which they did to Doe right there. And that's what makes this offense, running offense, so hard to defend. You defend the perimeter or do you defend the middle? It's a guessing game.
Second down and 10 at the 37-yard line. And a little bit of movement, some flinching along the line.
Start offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Like there were several culprits who may have moved just a little bit.
Yeah, he's leaning forward just a little bit. Probably checking at the line, and you get a little anxious. Normally you see offensive linemen do that. Really no reason for that guy 7 yards deep in the backfield to do it, but as much as he did, we'll give him a little break there.
Second down and 15. Gordon, nice cut. Melvin Gordon got the penalty yardage back and an extra yard down to the 37. 36-yard line. L.A. Gorey on the tackle as we check in downstairs with Lisa Byington.
I spoke to Melvin Gordon here before the game, and he admitted to me every Saturday he actually checks on how the other Big Ten running backs do. And Gary Anderson said, hey, that's not a selfish factor. If Melvin Gordon is the best running back in the Big Ten, he's helping Wisconsin football. But Gordon kind of joked with me. If he looks up Tevin Coleman of Indiana or Amir Abdullah of Nebraska, he says, if I don't get 100 yards, I actually feel kind of behind some of those guys after Saturday is done.
You've got to have a measuring stick for your progress, and those are not bad guys to compare yourself to in a league that has had some of the best backs in the nation this year. Stavi flushed. Stavi on the run. A flag is down, and he'll just throw it away. Flag down back at the 45-yard line. Jesse Anabanam chasing him out, and the hold, the initial signal against Wisconsin.
Holding, offense, number 73. That penalty's decline results in 4th down.
Let's see it right there. There you go. You can't put your arms around him and hold him. Yeah, he had the shirt there and probably played defensive tackle in high school. And good decision by Stavi. Nothing there. Throw the ball away.
Drew Meyer on the fake. He'll flip it to his tight end through the gully, and it's a first down. Drew Meyer with the flip on the fake and Fumagalli to the 19-yard line.
You remember back yesterday when we were meeting with the coaches and I asked Gary Anderson, you got any trick plays? And he looked at me and he says, yeah, I got a few. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but don't catch yourself sleeping up there in the booth. Well, there's one of them.
17-yard gain. Tim Tebow would be proud of that pass from Drew Meyer, the little jump pass. And Drew Meyer, yeah, he's fired up. How about that? Wow. Punters or passers, too. At the 19-yard line, first down. Melvin Gordon with the carry. Gordon down after just a 1-yard gain. Good tackle by L.A. Gorey. We've called his name a couple of times. He came in ranked 3rd in the Big Ten, averaging 10 tackles per game this year.
Well, they play a similar defense. They're a 3-4 defense. And, you know, you look at Wisconsin, we've mentioned a number of times, #1 rushing team in the country. Maryland, 102nd versus rush defense.
Gordon motioning out of the backfield on 2nd down. Stavi looking for Erickson, and the pass incomplete. Well, that pass incomplete brings up 3rd down, but Wisconsin in this situation because of the fake punt that kept it alive.
Well, you can see it right here. The punter just takes it. He starts the run. They go to close. Little jump pass. You can't defend the run and the pass at the same time. But as a coach, when you gamble like that on a fake and you get the first down, you want to come away with 7 points. You got to come at least with points.
3rd down and 9 at the 18-yard line. Stavi with protection. And the pass a little bit too tall for Fumagalli, and a flag is down at the 5-yard line. Sean Davis out there on the coverage. Looks like it's going to go initially against Wisconsin, the initial signal.
Pass interference. Offense, number 48. 15-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
So move them back, and not only move them back out of good position, but maybe out of field goal range.
Well, you can see 48 right there. Oh, he put his hands on him. Yeah. Yep. Then a good play, as you mentioned, by Sean Davis. The ball drifted a little too high, but the tight end, 48, he grabbed him and threw the man down.
The change to decline the penalty, bring up 4th down. So now Rafael Gaglianone will come on for the field goal. This from 36 yards. Gaglianone's kick, plenty of distance and plenty of accuracy. And Wisconsin with the 10-0 advantage. 3:46 remaining in the first quarter. The fake punt sets it up for the Badgers, and they finish it off with 3 and a 10-0 lead on homecoming. Coming up today on the Fox Sports family of networks at 3:30, it's college football on Fox and Fox Sports 1 as TCU hosts Texas Tech and unbeaten Marshall takes on Florida Atlantic. Then tonight on Fox, it's Game 4 of the World Series from San Francisco at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Utah takes on USC. Busy day on the Fox family of networks as Endicott gets ready to kick off for Wisconsin, enjoying a 10-0 lead at home over Maryland. Stefon Diggs has yet to have the chance to get the kick return game going. 2 kickoffs into the end zone for touchback, something that'll make Gary Anderson very happy. Special teams, a big emphasis for this Badger squad during the bye week. Diggs may have a chance at this one. He'll back up and he'll take a knee. Another good kickoff. And out to the 25 comes Maryland as we go back to Chicago for a T-Mobile studio update.
Kevin, Illinois, 2 great drives to start the game against the first-place Gophers. Riley O'Toole has thrown for 1, rushed for 1. Largest lead in a conference game for Illinois since 2011, up 14-0.
Boy, a stunning score early on in that matchup with Illinois up 2 touchdowns. Minnesota going to have to play the comeback game.
Still early.
At the 25-yard line, Maryland starting. No rushing yards, 30 yards passing for the Terrapins, and flags all over the field.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Silvano Altamirano, the left guard.
Yeah, you'll see it right. Oh, you can't do that. Man, you got to sit in your tracks, and there's so much audibly going on. But Maryland, it's imperative that they pick up a couple first downs. They can't put that defense back out against that grueling attack by the Badgers.
Brown on the option. Brown on the keep. And C.J. Brown with a good run on first down. They had Diggs well covered on the pitch. Caputo and Trotter able to get out there on the edge and cover, and he gets the penalty yardage back +3.
Well, you can see C.J. Brown. He's got the running ability to run that option. It's obvious so far that Wisconsin, first and foremost, is going to take the pitch away and then try to rally to the quarterback.
Motion out of the backfield from Stefon Diggs. Rolling that direction is Brown. Diggs with a leaping grab, and then the ball knocked out of his hands. Excellent play by Darius Hillary, who stayed with it all the way to the ground, and Diggs still down at the 35-yard line. My goodness. He had a 9-catch, 130-yard day against Iowa last week. We've talked about his prowess in the kick return game, and Stefon Diggs still down after this play by Hillary.
Yeah, that is awful good defense by Hillary. He runs through him because that would have been a catch unless he ran right through him. Thrown a little high.
He hit awfully hard.
Had to control it all the way to the ground. Momentarily bobbled it in air. Didn't have control.
Excellent play by Darius Hillary. Brown's pass a little high, forcing Diggs to leap up, try to pull it in from behind. And every Maryland fan right now looking on with a lot of trepidation. This is a...
Let's see if he hits the ground.
Well, you see it kind of reaches back to the back of his head, his neck area, and that's something that you'll be awfully careful with. The training staff will for Maryland. It's good to see him sitting up. Helmet is off, but Stefon Diggs sitting up and now on his feet. Great to see. Hillary comes over. Good sportsmanship. There's the head coach out. Give a little swat as well to Stefon Diggs.
Well, I say it often that, you know, football is a very physical sport. You see guys going against the other, but when a guy gets hurt, you almost always see the opposition go over concern there because they have respect for one another.
Well, they know that it could be them just as easily in that position. You're competing. You're certainly not wishing anyone ill. 3rd down and 7 at the 28-yard line. 2 for 4 on 3rd, but they're 0 for 2 in their last 2. Pressure coming. They set up the quick screen. Looking for a little running room is Long, and Long has the 1st down. That extra little surge at the end across the 35-yard line gives Maryland the 1st. Big conversion for the Terrapins.
Well, it's execution. Maryland knows that most likely Wisconsin's going to bring pressure, which means they're going to be in man coverage. There's the little jailhouse break or missile screen, whatever you want to call it. Excellent versus man coverage.
At the 36-yard line on 1st down. Fumble. The ball is loose. The handoff was bobbled. On the run is Beagle. Vince Beagle's going to take it all the way for the touchdown. A bobble turns into 6 for Beagle. And a 16-0 Wisconsin lead. Every play they'll look at.
Yeah.
And this one may be coming back. Vince Beagle may have been down when he fielded that.
Yeah. I don't think he may have been down. He was down. When he sees it on film tomorrow, he'll say, why did I do that? Why didn't I just pick it up? You'll see this is an unforced error in the handoff. The quarterback was going to pull it. The ball is on the ground. Now watch Beagle come in here, and he's going to recover it first and foremost, but he's down. On Sundays, you can pick it up and run it. You weren't touched, but not on Saturdays.
He's a day early.
Yeah.
And he's going to end up a touchdown short, but it's going to be Wisconsin football. And an error that Maryland couldn't afford to have on the road, already down 10, and giveaways have been a big problem this year for the Terrapins.
After further review, the player picked up the ball, had his knee down. Therefore, it's Wisconsin's ball, 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line on the left upright. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 36 seconds, 2:36.
Yeah, he was definitely down, and I think the Maryland players saw that. That's why they stopped. They know the rules. And
what it is, though, the 15th giveaway this year by Maryland and the 6th in the first quarter of games.
And that comes into the category unforced error. And that's that Mike Loxley, the coordinator for Maryland, talked about. They have to eliminate those.
Corey Clement in at running back now, and Clement with the carry, trying to find some running room down to the 28-yard line. One more look at the exchange.
Well, you'll see it right here. They're running the read play to the side play, and you'll see the ball right in there. Either the quarterback's going to hand it off or he's going to pull it. He pulls it, but it hits the elbow of the running back. Ball goes on the ground. Quarterback has to secure the ball better than that.
2nd down and 9 at the 28-yard line. Watt back in at fullback, Clement at running back. Doe and Erickson the wide receivers. Doe in motion. Clement again. Nice cutback. Corey Clement upended at the 22-yard line by Sean Davis. Nice little 1-2 punch that Wisconsin has between Melvin Gordon and Corey Clement. And Corey Clement was the 3rd team back a year ago. And when we were talking with Gary Anderson and with offensive coordinator Andy Ludwig, they both said, look, there was no transition for this young man from high school to college. He came in and was immediately set for college football.
Well, I'd have to tell him that that's about every back I've ever seen here in Wisconsin in recent history.
3rd down and 3. Clement the carry, a hole, and a 1st down and more. Look at Clement's power, dragging tacklers down to the 11-yard line. Likely and Davis along for the ride as he picks up 11.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, when you see a running back short side of the 50 run through like that, and he's 5 yards downfield before he's touched, You know who's doing a heck of a job? It's those big guys up front, that offensive line.
Fultz and Costigan on that right side with a big opening. First down and 10 at the 11-yard line. Stabile will change things up a bit. Clement again breaks the tackle. Clement powering his way to the 2 and down to the 1. Close to another first down. Sean Davis on the tackle. Corey Clement's fired up. Yeah, he's got speed, he's got elusiveness, but he's showing his power on this drive.
Well, there's not much doubt when they line up like this. Now watch Watt right there going in there. He is the lead blocker. He's going to pick up anybody that's not blocked up front. Normally it's a linebacker. But to me, watching film and evidence so far today, that is their most consistent play.
Timeout taken by Wisconsin with 16 seconds remaining in this first quarter. A first and goal at the 1-yard line for Gary Anderson's troops. They'll try to punch it in. Already up 10-0 here late in the first. Nothing Wisconsin. Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington. Our entire BTN crew here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin on homecoming. 5th play of the drive coming up. It's been all Clement so far. 4 carries, 28 yards. 3 tight ends out there on first and goal for Wisconsin at the 1-yard line. Watt and Clement in the backfield. Clement the carry, running behind Watt, bangs off a blocker, lunges for the goal line, and he's down inside the wall. Clement on the carry. I got a little pushing and shoving afterwards. Play continuing as Sean Davis for Maryland was battling with Troy Fumagalli of Wisconsin. We have reached the end of the first quarter here in Madison. Gary Anderson and the Badgers, a 10-0 lead, and Wisconsin's done a little bit of everything on homecoming as they've gone to the air and to the ground. No surprise to see Melvin Gordon get the touchdown early for Wisconsin. The second quarter, the final play of the first quarter, Corey Clement just short.
Watch Corey here. He's going to hit in there hard. But there's 2 play in this game. I get your pad level a little bit lower. You can see he's a little too high. He thought he could bounce in, but didn't quite make it.
Just short. A little zoom there. You see the ball short of the goal line.
Got to get his pad level down a little bit there. Down there on the goal line.
So now Melvin Gordon in to swoop a touchdown array perhaps from Corey Clement. A second and goal from the 1. Gordon into the end zone for the touchdown. His second rushing touchdown of the day. Number 15 on the year. 6 plays, 29 yards, all on the ground. Not a surprise for the Wisconsin Badgers, but Melvin Gordon comes in after Clement carries the load and takes the touchdown.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Derek Watt, number 34, the fullback, and I can see why those Badger coaches are happy to get him back.
Leone on for the extra point. It is good. And a 17-0 lead for Wisconsin over Maryland. Tremendous start for the Badgers. Not a bad start for Melvin Gordon. 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. It's his best friend today. Mr. Watt back in the lineup and providing some key blocks.
Well, he sure did. Just watch this right. Watch Watt down here on the goal line. You want to play fullback at Wisconsin, you be able to block like that. If you're a small offensive guard out there, come to Wisconsin. They'll find for you a place to play. J.J. Watt saying, I taught him how to do that. That's my brother.
So far going the other way. All the kickoffs were in the end zone. Stephon Diggs, though, going to have a chance to return this one from the 2. Diggs back out there after the injury across the 25, and Diggs down just shy of the 30-yard line. A 27-yard return for Stephon Diggs. We talked about Derek Watt, and our United States Marine Corps leader of the game is Derek Watt. 75 hours of community service last year, and every Friday, Derek Watt's at Children's Hospital lifting the spirits of those young folks.
Yeah, all too often we only hear about the negative things about these college athletes, and so many of them do the things that Derek Watt does, and they should be commended for it.
From the 29-yard line, first down. Maryland needs an answer here, down 17-0. Brown with a blitz coming, airing it, and it's caught. Good catch by Dion Long. into Wisconsin territory as we go to Chicago on a T-Mobile studio update with Dave Repson.
Kevin, Ameer Abdullah, career-high 4 touchdowns last week. He is in the end zone once again today, 53 yards for the touchdown run, and Nebraska has just scored again on another Abdullah touchdown, so make it 20-7, extra point pending.
So Nebraska starting to take a little control in Lincoln over Rutgers. Maryland with a flag down to the air on first down, and Diggs with the catch. Good adjustment in the air by the Maryland wide receiver to the 45 with Darius Hillary on his hip. We'll find out what the flag's about. 4-yard gain pending the flag.
They're Eagle formation on the offense. 5 men in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Before we replay first down, let's go down to Lisa Byington.
Kevin, just a quick update on Stefon Diggs. Keep an eye on his lower back. That was the
is the B-backer. And he told me, and they're well coached too.
9th tackle for loss this year for Derek Brandish. Puts Maryland at 3rd and 27. Back at their 34-yard line. Brown airing it deep, looking for Fay, and he overshot him at the Wisconsin 25. They had a step on Darius Hillary, but C.J. Brown a little too much on it, and the punt team will come off.
Yeah, what C.J. Brown saw there, he saw the safety lined up in the middle field, and on the snap, he rotated to his right over the top there, which means the receiver to C.J. Brown's right, they had no over-the-top help, and that's where he threw it.
Nathan Renfro to punt to Kenzel Doe. Doe 3rd in the country in punt return average, averaging just over 11 yards a return. A chance here at the 20-yard line. Doe to the 30. And Kenzel Doe hit hard as he gets to the 35-yard line, but a good return of 15 yards for Kenzel Doe. Sean Davis on the stop, and Wisconsin will start at the 35-yard line. Melvin Gordon with 2 rushing touchdowns today, 15 on the year. Going back to work, and Melvin Gordon III, what a season and what a career he has had. FBS leaders in points scored per game, 14. He's already got 2 touchdowns today. Ameer Abdullah, you heard Dave Repson earlier mention he's got a couple of touchdowns today. So those two, when they're comparing themselves to one another, are going to be right there even. As Melvin Gordon will stay on the sidelines for the moment. 6 carries, 30 yards, and a new quarterback on the field for Wisconsin, Tanner McAvoy, getting his first series of the afternoon. Doe in motion. Doe with the carry. And Doe caught and then breaks away. Kenzel Doe slipping out of the hands of L.A. Gorey on the sidelines, and he gets the first down at the 46.
Well, Doe is a dangerous guy, a lot of skill, and as you mentioned, we have a new quarterback in there, Tanner McAvoy. I'm sure some people are saying, why would you change now? Stavi's playing better than we've seen him. As a coach, when you tell players we're going to play you both, and you say whatever series or second quarter we're going to put you in, if you don't do that, you lose all credibility.
On first down after the good run by Doe. McAvoy to the air for the first time to Melvin Gordon. Gordon with a first down in Maryland territory, knocked out by Gorey at the 41-yard line, and Tanner McAvoy with his first completion.
Yeah, you look at McAvoy, and out of the two guys, Stavi and McAvoy, you'd say he's the runner and the other guy's the passer. But in this offense, they expect you to do both. Manage the offense, and then when you overplay the run, go to the play-action pass. When guys are open, you got to hit them.
McAvoy leads all FBS quarterbacks, averaging nearly 9 yards per carry this year. Melvin Gordon trying to find running room, and this time Maryland right there to stop him in the line of scrimmage at the 41-yard line. Davis in there to help make the stop. He had a 14-tackle day against Ohio State a couple of weeks ago for Maryland.
Well, you really don't want your free safety to be the leading tackler on your team. You know, that's probably one of the reasons why they're 102nd in the country in rush defense. On runs, you like those guys up front to take care of that stuff.
Wheelwright and Doe line up to the top of the screen. Motion from Arneson for Wisconsin. Play action. McAvoy looking for Doe and just threw it away. Davis and Likely out there on the coverage, but Tanner McAvoy just got rid of that football.
You talk about Rob Wheelwright in the game. He's from Walnut Ridge High School in the Columbus, Ohio area. His brother Ernie played for me. Was a great receiver and a Minnesota graduate. Just a great kid. And now his brother's out here. Wonder if Ernie's at the game today. Probably is. Tailgating, doing the jump around.
Third down and 10 at the 41-yard line. Wisconsin with the 17-0 lead. McAvoy under some pressure. A lot of room to run. McAvoy's going to get the first down and more. And Tanner McAvoy out of bounds at the 24-yard line. 17-yard scramble before Anthony Nixon could chase him out.
Yeah, great decision by him. He's dropped back, and then you'll just see that there's no contain there. There's so much green grass in front of him. He says, heck with it. I'll put it down and run with it and pick up the yards and move the chains and put us in scoring position.
First down and 10 at the 24-yard line. Badgers on the move again. Very effective day for Wisconsin so far. McAvoy, the swing to Gordon. Gordon working around the Frederick block, but a good job defensively by Yannick Cujo-Virgil, who shook off that block and got out there to make the stop.
Yeah, when you run the bubble screen, you tell the receiver, in this case, Melvin Gordon, you keep pressing the ball to the outside. All the trouble's inside. But you got the corner did a really fine job at containing it there, and Gordon probably should have went north and south. It was well defended by Maryland in that situation.
Coach is calling Cujo. You've got two Yannicks at linebacker. Yannick Cujo-Virgil and Yannick Ngakoue. Jamerson in motion, trying to find a running room with Gordon, and not much there. L.A. Gorey again on the tackle. We've called the senior from Maryland's name a lot. He came in as the active career leader in tackles for Maryland with 242 stops, and he's been in on several already today.
Yeah, he's out of Fork Union Military Academy in Virginia. And there's a lot of good football players over the years that come out of that institution. You've probably never been there. I have.
I have never been there. When we go on our tour of military academies in the offseason, you can take me there. Arneson, the motion man, on third down. McAvoy to the air. A fingertip grab by Alex Erickson at the 16-yard line. What a pluck by the junior from Darlington, Wisconsin, 2 yards short of the first down.
Yeah, Tanner to a nice passer led Erickson just a little too much. I don't think he would have got much more anyway. They were well defended inside out. I I guess if you're the leading rushing team in the country going against the Maryland defense, you'd probably go for it here and you'd probably run the football.
Melvin Gordon will head to the sideline, though, for the moment. Watt in the backfield with McAvoy.
This would not be a passing formation.
4th and
But
2.
it is.
McAvoy on the Keith. McAvoy with a first down, and McAvoy down to the 10-yard line. We mentioned Tanner McAvoy leading all FBS quarterbacks in yards per carry. Why not put the ball in his hands and let him move the chains? So both quarterbacks have been effective so far today.
Well, they go to the shotgun, a little bit surprising, but I'm not surprised that they ran the football. And that was just the quarterback predetermined off-tackle power, pulling the backside guard around, and they got enough faith that he's going to get the first down.
Badgers now 2 for 2 on 4th down, including that fake punt earlier. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. Melvin Gordon looking for the end zone for the 3rd time today, and he's down at the 4 in the arms of Anthony Nixon.
This little two-back play that they have a good feel for it. Obviously, the offensive linemen like to block it. Watt leading on the front side linebacker. The big guys coming off the ball. And, you know, when you run that inside zone, those running backs like Gordon keep their shoulders square the whole way and make that real shallow cut real quick, and great vision. Run to daylight.
2nd and goal. Gordon again. Gordon with a hole. He's in for the 3rd time in this first half. Melvin Gordon makes it 23-0 Wisconsin. Rob Havenstein.
All right, here we go. Watch the big guy right here. Watch that block. He stays square. He's under pads. He keeps his legs driving. And let me tell you, that's a big fella. He weighs 333 pounds.
And he's lost nearly 50 pounds since he got to Wisconsin. 5th career game for Melvin Gordon with at least 3 rushing touchdowns. And we're still in the first half here in Camp Randall. Melvin Gordon getting it done once again. This Wisconsin offense hitting on all cylinders right now. A 24-0 lead with 6:40 to go until halftime. Wisconsin 24, Maryland nothing. 6:40 remaining in the 2nd quarter. 2nd straight conference game that Melvin Gordon has pulled off the hat trick in the first half. 3 touchdowns already for Melvin Gordon on the ground. And the kickoff for Wisconsin once more to Stephon Diggs. Diggs from the 3. Diggs across the 25, and he rolls down there. Weekdays, our national college football experts discuss the weekend's biggest stories and the impact they have on the national championship picture. Big Ten football and beyond, weekdays at noon on BTN. Glen Mason, Maryland down 24-0 on the road, an offense that has 54 yards of total yardage. What needs to happen here for Maryland to get things moving again?
They need a big play, and they need something to excite them. They got to get the ball to Diggs, get a big play somehow, throwing it deep, short pass, letting him run with it.
And we've got a whistle, and a flag is down. Maryland had 40 yards on the first drive.
Ball start, offense, number 48, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Then they've had drives of -10, +4, +5, and they're back 5 here before this drive even starts.
Well, and that penalty right there, Michael Caputo, the safety, up, he's coming on the blitz, and he's faking. He's trying to time it. Maryland got a little nervous. They want to count for him.
4th offensive penalty against Maryland. Wow. Little fade looking for his 2nd favorite target, Dion Long, and the flag is down. Sojourn Shelton out there on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 8. Spot foul, automatic, first down.
It's been a frustrating year for that young man, Sojourn Shelton.
Well, you know, you look at it right there. He gets called with his hands on him. When we were talking to Mike Loxley, he said, number one thing they have to do, they have good wide receivers, but Wisconsin's going to play press coverage, and they grab and they hold you, and they grab and they hold you. How many times did he say that? And they got caught right there.
Shelton said this week he's never hit a wall like this before in his life in football. The pass incomplete, intended for Diggs near the 40-yard line. Said he's been pressing to duplicate what he did last year when he burst onto the scene with 4 interceptions. He set a preseason goal, coach, for 8 interceptions. Only one player in college football all last year had 8 interceptions. He set a bar really high and now is frustrated that he's not gotten to that point yet.
Well, that's awful high. You know?
2nd down and 10. Pressure coming. He dumps it off to Brown. Wes Brown to the edge, and Wes Brown with a good gain on 2nd down near the 41-yard line.
Well, you talk about interception. Wisconsin as a group, as well as they're playing defensively, they're not getting interceptions. And, you know, I asked Gary Anderson about that. I said, do you think it's because how much pressure you're doing and how much man coverage? Because a lot of times when you have a lot of interceptions, because people are playing zone defense and they're getting pressure out of 4 people rushing, you got extra people defending back there, and you pick up the errant pass.
3rd down and 4 at the 41-yard line, trying to overcome the early penalty as Brown will keep Brown dancing around. Nowhere to go. Wisconsin there again. A 1-yard gain for Brown. Joe Schobert staying home, makes the stop. 4th down and 3, and the punt team back on the field for Maryland.
Now, those coaches will be really happy because that play right there, which was well defended, when they played Illinois a couple of weeks ago and Aaron Bailey came in and was running that exact play, they couldn't handle the quarterback pulling the ball and picking up the yards. They corrected their mistake in the bye week.
A lot of time on fundamentals in the bye week, and those fundamentals starting to show themselves here. Pressure again on the punt. Renfro gets rid of it. Doe with the fair catch, and he makes it at the 18-yard line. Badgers with a 24-0 lead and an offense that's been clicking coming back on the field here in Madison. Tanner McEvoy led him down the field the last time. Joel Stave back out at quarterback for Wisconsin. 3 straight incompletions after starting 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Badgers starting deep in their own end. 1st down and 10 at the 18-yard line. Motion man is Arneson. Melvin Gordon with the carry. Bouncing to the outside. Melvin Gordon powering his way across the 20-yard line and down at the 22. Sean Davis and William Likely on the stop as we go downstairs to Lisa Byington.
Kevin, I am with men's basketball royalty here at Wisconsin, Josh Gasser and Frank Kaminsky. And Josh, I know that some fans watching here today want to know the status of Sam Decker, who tweaked his ankle at practice yesterday. What's the latest you can tell us about him?
Yeah, you know, Sam's fine. Just in practice yesterday during a scrimmage, just kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit, a little ankle sprain, but, you know, everyone's kind of had that. So Wisconsin fans need to calm down a little bit. He'll be all right. He'll be out a few days, maybe a few weeks, but by the time our first game comes, he'll be good.
Good to hear. Hey, Frank, how does this team handle all the expectations? One of the favorites to win the Big Ten and obviously ranked very high here in the country. How are you managing that here in the preseason?
I think our team kind of self-manages, you know, ourselves. In the locker room, you know, everyone knows what to expect and what we want to accomplish this season, so we have our own expectations, and we kind of go off of that.
You have a second here. I'd like to show the back of your cell phone. Pull it out here real quick before we get into our next play. Take a look at that. That is the cover of the Sports Illustrated after you beat Arizona, right? Both of these guys on here. What are the feelings you feel when you see that again?
Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool, but you know, we have a season to focus on. So it's great that we made the Final Four last year and that we were obviously on the cover of Sports Illustrated, but there's brighter things to look forward to.
Thanks, guys, for the time. We appreciate it.
Well, and some problems with the sack, and that led to all kinds of problems as Andre Monroe comes up with the sack. 6th sack of the season for Andre Monroe.
Yeah, this is probably the first miscue of the day. You can see that Stave does not handle the snap well. There's a full blitz coming on. When you have that, you have to get rid of the ball quickly. If you don't have your hand on the ball, you can't do it. That's why he was sacked.
Fourth down. Houston to punt. And Houston with a line drive punt. Takes a great roll for Wisconsin. So the Badgers change things up. Bart Houston on to punt. And Houston with the line drive number that bounds and pops 52 yards all the way to the 35-yard line. Well, Randy Edsall's going to have field position from the 35-yard line after one of the weirder punts you'll see from Bart Houston.
Well, you know, he tries that rugby-style kick. I really don't think he intended to hit it that low. I'm just guessing that, but I think I'm right.
I don't know. His average is 52 yards a punt. That's not bad. Maryland minus 1 yard rushing as they start 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. Brown in trouble. Brown throws it incomplete. C.J. Brown trying to hit Brandon Ross. The pressure in his face threw off that pass and it's 2nd down.
Yeah, that's what I would put in the category of a desperation throw. He was under extreme pressure and he threw back late across the middle. More often than not, bad things happen on passes like that.
2nd down and 10 at the 35-yard line. Brown 6 of 14 for 62 yards today. That first drive, by far the most effective possession Maryland's had. They went for it on 4th in Wisconsin territory and could not convert. Brown airing it out for Diggs, and he aired it too far. There is a breeze at the back of Maryland in this 2nd quarter, and that's the 2nd time in this quarter we've seen C.J. Brown miss long on a pass that he's trying to throw deep.
Yeah, well, people that are watching, they might say, why do they keep doing this? Well, Wisconsin is dialing up blitzes, bringing linebackers. They've got man coverage on the outside, tough, tight coverage. You got good receivers. Go for the home run. They're just not executing.
3rd down and 10 at the 35-yard line. Brown looking deep once more, and again he overthrows the intended receiver. Marcus Leak and Stephon Diggs both out there. Well overthrown, and now 4th down. Diggs no catches in the first half for Maryland after 9 for 130 yards last week against the Hawkeyes.
Well, your percentage of those deep throws down there are not going to be great, but they're not even coming close. Those are foul balls. I mean, they're desperation just throwing them up and trying to avoid sacks. They haven't solved the blitz yet for Wisconsin, and that's why they keep bringing it.
Renfro to punt once more. Wisconsin's been close a couple of times to Renfro. This one fair caught by Kenzel Doe near the 20-yard line. Timeout on the field. 2:19 remaining until halftime. All Badgers on homecoming. 24-0 Wisconsin with the advantage. 2:19 remaining in the first half. Wisconsin back to work on offense. Stabby to the air on 1st down, and the catch is made by Doe at the 25-yard line. And Badger fans may be looking at this going, wait a minute, you're up 24. You're throwing the football. Yeah, you're maybe in your 2-minute offense, but this is something Wisconsin coaches need to see, right?
Yeah, they want to find out who the best quarterback is. We talked about it in the open, and that determination will be who throws the ball better.
2nd and 5. Stabby again to the air. Coming back to make the catch on the dive is Jordan Frederick. Coming up, our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Closing in on halftime. We'll send it back to our studios in Chicago. Dave, Jerry, and Howard with all the action from around a busy start to the Big Ten day and some surprising scores. At least one certainly to talk about at halftime. That's called a tease. 3rd and 4 at the 26. Stabby over the middle, and the catch is made for the 1st down. That's his tight end, Sam Arneson, who makes the grab. And Stabby's completed 3 straight now to the 41-yard line.
Well, that's the difference. He's in the shotgun. It's a good snap. He handles it cleanly. He gets rid of it, and there's pressure going on. There's a receiver wide open.
1:17 and counting to go. Stabby to the air again, looking deep for Doe, and the pass is incomplete. Here comes a flag. Hand fighting with Jarrett Ross all the way down the field, and the flag comes soaring in from behind the play.
Pass interference, defense, number 32. 15-yard penalty results in an automatic 1st down.
Yeah, Ross thought there was a lot of hand fighting going on, and yeah, well, you can see they're both pushing each other. He had his hands to his face.
Joel Stave likes the call, obviously. He's a little bit biased, though.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. You think it's a good call if you're wearing red shirts, and you think it's a bad call if you're wearing white shirts.
5 for 8, 80 yards today for Joel Stave. He came in with 187 yards on the year, 15 of 33, 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown. Stave again to the air, and again he's got a completion, this time to Reggie Love, just his second catch of the year, down at the 31-yard line of Maryland. Coming up on a minute to play in this first half, and Wisconsin looking for more. Already up 24-0. Gordon in some trouble, well defended by Maryland. They had men in the backfield, including Yannick Ngakoue, immediately. And a timeout is used by Wisconsin with 55 seconds to go until halftime.
Well, it didn't work, but I love the call right there. You know, you're passing the ball at will, and all of a sudden it's a changeup. You give it to an awful good running back.
24-0 Wisconsin. 55 seconds to go until halftime and a timeout. 24-0 Wisconsin from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Kevin Kugler alongside Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington with us on the field today. And what a day Glenn Mason dialed up for Lisa on the field. It's nice as the coordinator of all things on the road. You've coordinated weather nicely.
Yeah, I got my weatherman in tune and took care of Lisa once again.
2nd down and 11 at the 32-yard line. Stave 4 for 4 on this drive. Pressure coming though, and Joel Stave is sacked. Back at the 39-yard line, Jesse Anabanam and Yannick Ngakoue met at the quarterback, and a timeout used by Wisconsin.
Well, he's got pressure, but he misses the outlet, the man to the dump. Melvin Gordon, look at him right there in the middle of your screen. There's no one on him. If he could have got the ball to him, watch it right here. He knows he's the outlet. He makes his read. If nothing's open, here he comes underneath. That guy, you give him the ball, he's dancing in the end zone. Man, you missed one. That's another one. On Sunday, you'll be watching the film, and he'll think, oh, my goodness, I missed one.
Our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report straight ahead, 49 seconds away. Preview, of course, and look ahead to Michigan State. Plenty to talk about from the early games and the last 6 meetings. Dominated by the Michigan State Spartans. Points per game. Look at the rushing yards per game, and the pressure Pat Narduzzi's defense has applied in the Michigan games has really caused some problems.
You don't think he'll be dialing it up against that offensive line at Michigan, and Devin Gardner has a propensity to make some mistakes, but in rivalry games, anything can happen.
3rd down and 17 at the 38-yard line. Stave steps away from the pressure. Open and dropped. That one's not on Stave. Troy Fumagalli had that one in his breadbasket and couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, you know, when a quarterback is struggling, you got to help them all you can. The offensive line doing their part. Good protection, and ball's thrown a little bit behind him, but you got to catch that. You're playing for Wisconsin and trying to get a championship here at Camp Randall. You got to catch that ball.
Drew Meyer on to punt. William Likely back at the 10-yard line. Myers put 6 inside the 20 this year. That'll bounce at the 2 and go into the end zone for the touchback with 37 seconds to go and 2 timeouts. Maryland down 24 points. How aggressive does Randy Edsall get here with an offense that's been struggling a little bit?
And not me. I've had trouble moving the ball all day. Now, what makes me think with 37 seconds to go that I'm going to take it, 75 yards and be able to score? Let's not make a mistake right before half and really get this crowd and everybody jacked up. Let's just, kind of run a couple plays and let it go at that.
Opening possession very good for Maryland. Went for it on 4th down, didn't convert. Since then they have really sputtered. Quick screen pass to the edge, and again well defended. Juwan Winfrey with the catch, but Wisconsin right up to the challenge.
Yeah, they went back to the screen here, the missile screen, but I'd be surprised if, Wisconsin's been blitzing all day. I'd be shocked if they blitzed in this situation. Move those safeties back, keep everything in front of them.
Timeout has been utilized with 16 seconds remaining in the half. took a little time off before they called the timeout. They used 6 or 7 seconds deciding whether to call the timeout before calling the timeout.
Well, Randy Edsall probably had to do that because there was some miscommunication. They didn't have the right personnel on the field, or they were calling something that he didn't like. You know, and he says, whoa, wait a minute, timeout. Let's not make another mistake right beforehand.
Are you saying you head coaches will occasionally overrule a call you don't like? I thought you guys just stood there and looked good on the sidelines, like you did for all those years.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you look good now, too, but you're not on the sidelines. You're up here with me.
There'd be a lot of people that would argue that observation with you, I promise you.
I don't know. You were pretty successful at your various stops as a head coach. I don't know that they'd argue too loudly. 2nd and 8 at the 22-yard line. Brown hit as he throws, airing it deep, but the pass too tall and too long, incomplete for Dion Long.
Well, I was wrong because Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, he dialed up a blitz. And the safety, he came from about 12 yards deep. Look at him right there. And, man, he's going, but he didn't quite get there.
3rd down and 8 at the 22. And now the handoff. Shrugging off a tackler is Ross, and Ross tripped up shy of the 1st down by Michael Caputo. And that will be the final play of the 1st half at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. And a big 1st half on both sides of the football for the Wisconsin Badgers. 3 rushing touchdowns for Melvin Gordon III. A defense pitching a shutout in the 1st half. All in all, homecoming a success so far for the Badgers, who take a 24-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. With a 24-point lead, Lisa Byington standing by with head coach Gary Anderson.
Well, Coach, your defense so far pitching a shutout. What has impressed you the most of what they've been able to do here in the 1st half?
I think, you know, we've been able to control the run game and the option game. We've also done a nice job of tackling and playing team defense, which is the key against a multiple offense.
Joel Stave has looked confident, 6 of 10 for 93 yards so far in the 1st half. What has impressed you about him?
You know, Joel's very poised right now. He feels comfortable, and he's controlling the offense, but he's also converting some 3rd downs, throwing the ball well. Offense is in a good spot right now.
All right, thank you.
Joel Stave off to a good start today, and they were looking, as Glenn Mason mentioned at the top of the show, they were looking for a quarterback to assert himself and take control of that quarterback spot by the end of this day today.
Yeah, you know, we met with the coaches yesterday, and they talked about that, and they were emphatic. We don't want a 2-quarterback system. We want these guys to go out there and battle and have a feeling at the end of the day we know who our quarterback is going forward. That's putting a lot of pressure on those 2 guys, but there's always a lot of pressure on quarterbacks in the Big Ten Conference.
As that quarterback situation gets solidified at Wisconsin, Big Ten West, already a very interesting division, becomes even more intriguing as the season moves along. Wisconsin won the toss and deferred, so they're going to have it to start the 2nd half, as Kenzel Doe will take it off a hop and take the knee for the touchback. Our Quicken Loans quarterback comparison relies on that battle that we were talking about between Stave and McAvoy.
Yeah, well, you know, Stave's got the better numbers. He's had, more opportunities, and he sure got off to a good start with those first 2 passes, and we'll see what unfolds the 2nd half.
Stave and Tanner McAvoy. It'll be Stave to start things off in this 2nd half.
You would think they would hope that Stave would come back to form, because he's got a lot more experience playing in this offense and in this conference than McAvoy.
His 21st start today came in with a 14-6 record as a starter. Arneson, the motion man, on 1st down. Melvin Gordon the carry, and Gordon across the 30-yard line and down to the 32. Sean Davis on the tackle. In the first half, this is what Wisconsin was able to do, scoring on their first 4 possessions.
Yeah, you like to get off to that start. I'm sure they're not very happy that they kind of stalled. And sometimes that happens. You know, it's just a play here or there that gets you out of rhythm. And you try a couple of things like we talked about when you have that type of lead. But I think they'll go back to the first. Every coach emphasizes the first series of the second half is so important.
Second down and 3 at the 32. Watt now in at fullback as Erickson motions towards the line. Gordon again, and Gordon with a first down across the 35-yard line. The Badgers 5 scoring drives to open the second half this year. Melvin Gordon's had a 20-plus yard run in each of the 5 scoring drives. He's averaging over 11 yards per carry in the third quarter this year. We talked at halftime about Melvin Gordon not popping the big one yet. Maryland's done a good job of hemming him in, but this has been his quarter and usually his drive where he's popped a big play.
Yeah, as poor as they played this year on defense versus the rush, they got to be happy for the first half so far.
Gordon again, little stutter step, and Gordon just upended. He was one tackler away. That tackle was Sean Davis, who made the stop. But Melvin Gordon upended after the 7-yard pickup, now 7th in Badger history in career rush yards. And a quick screen, broken tackle for Erickson, and Erickson to the 49-yard line. A first down for Wisconsin.
And how about that for Wisconsin? A little up-tempo there. You know, you talk about defending the run. As the game goes on, it gets tougher. Remember the size of those offensive linemen for the Badgers. I mean, they got to be bigger than the Green Bay Packers. They're all over 300 pounds, some closer to 340 pounds, and they know what they're doing. They're good, tough players. They just wear you down.
And tall, too. Gordon trying to pick his way forward, and he ran right into Darius Kilgo, and Kilgo driving him down. We mentioned the offensive line and the size. Look at these big guys.
I mean, you know, if you're not 320, Dan Valtz, I mean, you're just a little guy in there, man. You got to start eating some more training table, you know? He's 3'11".
6'3", 311, and you're the little guy. Hey, this guy's been doing the job so far. Joel Stave, 7 of 11, 100 yards. Second down and 9 at the 49-yard line. Melvin Gordon again up the middle, and again met after he gets past the initial wave. Anthony Nixon drives him back at the 45-yard line, and it'll bring up third down. Maryland's still swarming to that football. One of the things that Randy Edsall told us this week, we've got to swarm to the ball on defense because we know it's going to be in the hands of Melvin Gordon a lot.
Yeah, overall, they've done a fine job at tackling, and he's not an easy guy to, you know, tackle. And, you know, sooner or later, they're really going to have to overplay the run, and then you would think Wisconsin will have to go back to the pass.
Another key said that they've got to get off the field on third down. Wisconsin's 3 for 8 on third. This is a third down and 4. Just across the 45-yard line. Clement with the carry, and Clement going nowhere. Falls forward to get a yard at the end of the run, but a very good job defensively by Cole Farron. And Maryland now on fourth down. We'll see the punt team jog on for Wisconsin. The Terrapin defense does its job, although Wisconsin's got a chance now to play the field position.
Yeah, I was just saying that, you know, they didn't get points. They didn't get in scoring position, but if they do a good kicking game, of which Gary Anderson's really upset with the punt team, of pinning Maryland deep down in their own territory.
He said earlier this week, punting has to improve. It's been poor. Punt hung up and fair caught at the 18-yard line. So Maryland starting inside their
We've been killing ourselves with unforced errors. Well, they're not doing any better today.
5 of those 6 penalties have been on the offense. We're behind the chains again on 1st down and 15 at the 20-yard line. Quick toss, pass incomplete, looking for Diggs. The pressure was coming again. C.J. Brown had to get it out of there quickly, and C.J. Brown's got to feel like every time he looks up, he just is surrounded by Badger defenders.
Well, they're bringing Michael Caputo from, 10 yards deep. You can't pre-read it. He's timing it perfectly. He's not getting there, but he's putting a lot of pressure, a lot of stress on that quarterback. Errant throws.
2nd and 15 at the 20-yard line. The run for Ross, and Ross to the 22, nudging it forward a pair. Derek Landish on the tackle, and now 3rd down.
Kevin, I've seen more safety blitzes today than I've seen in the last 5 years, and they're effective. The thing about a blitz, one thing to draw up a blitz, you need the guy to execute it, and he executes it well because he times it well.
You've seen those blitzes. Imagine how C.J. Brown feels. They're right in his face. 3rd and 13 at the 22. Brown on the roll. Too tall for Stephon Diggs. And again, no 1st down. 6th straight possession for the Terrapins without a 1st down. They go 3 and out, and they'll have to punt it away once more. Diggs 25 straight games without a catch. That streak in jeopardy. He has not been able to pull one in today.
Man, I am so impressed with this Badger defense. They're athletic. They use their hands. They tackle well. Good scheme.
Doe with the fair catch signaled and made near the 40-yard line. The Badgers coming back out on offense now with a 31-0 lead. Wisconsin doing it all today, thrilling this homecoming crowd. 31-0 Wisconsin. The Badger cheerleaders getting warmed up because jump around is coming, one of the great traditions in college football. We'll have it for you between the 3rd and 4th quarters here on BTN, featuring our own Lisa Byington, who I'm sure will be jumping around on the sidelines.
Wow, I can't wait to see that.
She was known as Lisa Skyington when she played basketball at Northwestern with the great vert that she had, as we check in downstairs with Lisa.
No jumping here right now, guys, but I am with Chris Borland, and it's actually a kind of a Chris Borland defensive type of game. When you guys have a shutout like this, how much is that discussed here on the sideline at this point?
It's definitely on guys' minds. If you can hang a 0 on the board against a Big Ten opponent, that's pretty impressive. So we'll see how the rest of the game goes, but I think our guys can do it.
Guys like Derek Landish and Marcus Trotter are your inside backers now, kind of trying to fill the shoes that you have left. Can you evaluate what you've seen from them so far this year?
They've been great. I've gotten a chance to watch a few games this season, and they've always been 2 guys that work really hard at it. They're smart and play hard, and they're well coached, so it's all coming together.
Of course, you're on your bye week. That's why you're here, but you're coming off of your first career NFL start against the Denver Broncos, and it was the record-setting game for Peyton Manning. Describe your emotions. Peyton Manning was a guy that you even looked up to when you were growing up.
Yeah, he was, there's only one Peyton Manning. He's at the top of the profession, maybe the top ever to play the game. So it was a big game for us, and we came up short, but a good experience, a good thing to learn from.
And something to build on. We appreciate the time. Thank you. Guys?
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. That pass tipped the line, and incomplete. Cole Farron deflected that into the air. Badgers are fortunate that one didn't go into the hands of the Terrapins. Chris Borland, I happened to be there for that game last Sunday night in Denver, and he played a solid football game.
Well, he's a great football player. That pass, Tanner, was a little bit low. That defensive lineman didn't even have to jump for it. He hardly got his hand up. And I'm sure Tanner McAvoy, we talked about the competition, and he's a competitor. He wants the starting position. He sees Stavi throw the deep touchdown, and then he goes out there and he gets one knocked down, and he thinks, oh, man, I got to do something.
4th down, and the punt team on. Drew Meyer. William Likely from the 15-yard line. Likely trying to find Renninger. Great coverage by Wisconsin. They've been looking for special teams improvements. They found those improvements. Good coverage on the punt, and Maryland starting deep. And on 1st down, C.J. Brown with the carry and caught by Caputo. as he tried to get to the outside. Boy, as Michael Caputo made a living in the backfield for Wisconsin today.
Well, I told you when I watched tape of this defense, we were eating breakfast this morning. You were eating breakfast, I was drinking coffee. I talked about Michael Caputo. He is all over the field. Converted linebacker to safety. He's found his home back there.
I tried to tell you that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. You just wouldn't listen to me. 2nd and 10 at the 15-yard line. Play action. Brown with time looking for Diggs, and Diggs couldn't get there at the 40-yard line. He was running full out, and Stephon Diggs tumbling over the bench on the sideline.
Yeah,
he's okay.
He made a real nice move on Derek Tyndall. Had him turn. He was wide open. Ball was thrown out of bounds.
Everybody colliding over there on the sidelines.
You keep asking me what they need to get it going. That's it. They got to convert some of those.
Well, they've got to convert on third. 6 straight 3-and-outs for this Maryland team. Motion from Ross out of the backfield on 3rd down and 10 at the 15-yard line. Brown sets up the screen. The pass knocked away and incomplete. He wanted that screen to his tight end, Derek Hayward, which was a big play early in this game. Wisconsin was all over it. Peniel Jean breaks it up, and it's 4th down, and now 7 straight 3-and-outs for Maryland.
Yeah, the first 3rd and long back in the first quarter, first possession. That's what they went to, and it worked like a charm. And I've been wondering why they didn't come back to it. Now I know. You know, you can't fool these guys twice.
Renfro punting to Doe. Good punt by Renfro, driving Doe back. Fair catch, and it goes off of Kenzel Doe. The ball loose at the 44-yard line. Looked like a couple of Badgers were in the area with a chance at it, and it is Wisconsin football, and a break, and then an injured Badger down on the field, and it's Frederick. Jordan Frederick, the junior from right here in Madison, got caught up in the scrum as everybody battled back for that football off the carom from Doe. Frederick's a tough kid. He's up and headed to the sideline. See if we can see it here.
Well, he signals the fair catch, and his own player runs right into him, and then you see Frederick, he looks like he recovered it, and someone probably fell on his arm as he was reaching for the ball. Right? No, he didn't get it. I don't know.
Maybe right there.
It's a tough game. He got it right at the end, didn't he? Yeah.
Joel Stabby back in. As the Badgers take over 1st down and 10 at their 43-yard line. Here's Gordon. Gordon caught by Cole Farron at the 49, a 6-yard gain. Interestingly enough, as Melvin Gordon goes back to the huddle, 128 yards today on the ground for Wisconsin, and Melvin Gordon, a big part of that as he's moved ahead of Brent Moss in the career rushing yardage lore of Wisconsin football. But 184 yards passing. They've outpassed the run game today on the Wisconsin side. That has not happened a lot this year.
No, it sure hasn't happened many times ever. Not in recent history.
2nd down and 4 at the 49-yard line. Gordon again. And Gordon with a hole. Gordon into the secondary, and Melvin Gordon down to the 30-yard line. Sean Davis trips him up, but a 21-yard pickup. His longest carry of the day. Before that one was 8. This one 21 in the 1st down.
We kept talking about that, but with a running back of his caliber and the way they're blocking up front, it's just a matter of time. I love the way he carries the ball. High and tight. That's why he doesn't fumble it very often. In fact, he had his first fumble of his career this year, but he high and tight, protects both tips of the ball. He is an unbelievably fundamentally sound runner.
16th run of 20 yards or more this year for Gordon. He's at the 100-yard mark. Looking for more as Melvin Gordon bouncing to the outside. Has some room. Gordon to the 20. Inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, Wisconsin. Melvin Gordon breaking free. Back-to-back rushes of 20 yards or more. And it's 1st down and goal, Badgers at the 8.
I think Lisa Byington slipped this guy a note on the sideline, said the boys up in the box are They're saying you're not getting any big plays, and he said, okay, here I go. He's got that ability, and the game goes on. I like his vision, his strength, his ability. What don't you like about that guy?
Last couple of runs, he's upped his per carry average for the day by 2 yards. Now 5.5 yards per carry. Stavi to the air, throwing back wide open. He's tight end Arneson, who will walk in for 6.
This is a sucker play. This is another trick play by Gary Anderson, and lines up at tight end, and you roll to the right. He acts like he's blocking, kind of get low, everybody forget about you, and then slip out backside.
Extra point is good, and Wisconsin adding to the lead. 38-0 Badgers as we go to Chicago for a T-Mobile studio update with Dave Revson.
Kevin, thanks. Minnesota rallied from a halftime deficit to win for the first time ever under Jerry Kill last week. They were down 14 to Illinois today, but this David Cobb TD gives them the lead, 24-21, heading to the fourth.
Boy, you break a long streak of not rallying after halftime last week to win, and now that becomes the norm for the Gophers.
Well, you know,
haven't won yet, though.
No, they haven't won yet, but they've got a lot of confidence. And, you know, one thing about the Gophers, they don't beat themselves. They let the other guy make a mistake. And, you know, going back to that touchdown play, there's only one thing that could have stopped Sam Arneson in that play, and that was the sun, because it was right in his eyes. And I saw him come to the sideline. He's talking to all the guys. He's like, I almost lost the ball.
Well, he was unhappy at the end of that. You notice when he slapped the ball in excitement across the goal line, he dropped the ball. He knocked it out of his own hands. It's not the way you want to celebrate the touchdown, by knocking the ball out of your own hands. 3:31 to go in the third, and Badgers will get ready to kick things off. Diggs from the goal line. Diggs with a little crease that hit hard. Bounces free. Stephon Diggs to the 30. Diggs to the 40. And one of the biggest plays of the day for Maryland comes from one of the biggest kick return men in the nation, Stephon Diggs, all the way out across the 40-yard line before A.J. Jordan could bring him down.
Yeah, it was good coverage, but you got to wrap him up. You see, he takes a heck of a hit. There's a heck of a collision. He bounces off and has his wits about him and gets back upfield for a big game.
See if Maryland can take advantage of better field position from the 41-yard line. That kickoff return was their longest play of the day. From the 41-yard line, Brown to the air. A low throw, but it is caught by Dion Long at the 47-yard line. Picks up 6.
And another safety blitz. He'd be worn out after the game. He got to run 10 yards to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, a sign that things aren't going your way, Mace, when you have more return yards than offensive yards, and that's what Maryland has right now. 2nd and 4, 47-yard line. Screen pass. Ross bobbles it incomplete. Brandon Ross, the intended receiver. Joe Schobert was providing the heat again. Doesn't matter which linebacker you're talking about, Schobert, Trotter, Landish, Beagle. We've called all of those names repeatedly today because they're all making plays.
Yeah, I know I'm repeating myself, but watching them on film, very athletic. Hardly ever see them off their feet. They move, they react, they work in synchronization.
3rd down and 4 at the 47-yard line. Brown under heat again. Nobody open. Brown going to try to run for the first down, and he's going to end up just short. Chased out by Alec James. Oh, he got a great spot. An excellent mark into Wisconsin territory and a first down.
Crowd doesn't like it.
See if we can tell here.
Let's see right here. You see the... Oh, no. He's out of bounds. Yeah.
They're going to look at
down.
this one.
The previous play is under further review.
He's short. You saw him step out of bounds.
It would be the first down since the 3rd possession of the game. If it stands, this one.
You'll see it right here. He's out right there. He's got a yard and a half to go. I mean, at least a full yard.
Yeah, he stretched out after he was well out of bounds. Our replay booth is going to have a quick look at this one, and I would imagine make quick work of this one. Another angle. Needs to get to the 49 of Wisconsin. He's out of bounds right there.
Yes, sir. And they'll go for it anyway.
Down 38 on the road. Certainly not what Maryland was looking for in their first trip to Camp Randall Stadium. A Maryland team that's been solid all year long. They've had some difficult losses, of course, losing to Ohio
After
State.
further review, the runner did go out of bounds short of the line to gain. It will be 4th down and 2 at the minus 49-yard line on the right hash. Please reset the game clock to 2:46.
So as predicted, that one backs up, and now 4th down. Terrapins had scored at least 24 points in every game this year for the first time in program history, which kind of underlines the job that the Badger defense is doing today, shutting them out with 2:42 to go in the 3rd. Now on 4th down, Maryland will go. They're 0 for 1 today. They came in 6 for 6 on the year. 4th and 2 at the 49. Diggs in motion. Brown on the keep. Brown fighting for it. He won't get there. Derek Landish again makes a huge play, and the Badgers turn the Terrapins away once more.
What a play. That's a big play because, you know, in this game when you're leading 38-0, but sooner or later in a play that might mean the difference between a championship, you got to make a short yardage stop, and they control the line of scrimmage. The linebacker is unblocked, and he comes up and makes the tackle, doesn't let him fall forward. Man, you got to be impressed with this defense today.
What a job they have done. Dave Aranda's troops have been flying to the football. Randy Edsall's offense just never able to get on track. Stavi at quarterback, Clement at running back. The fullback is Derek Strauss. 1st down at the 49 of Maryland. Play action. Stavi with nobody open. In some trouble, and Stavi has to get rid of it. Well, he's fortunate that he didn't get sacked there. A couple of Maryland players had a chance, didn't recognize that he had the football as we go back downstairs to Lisa Byington.
Kevin, even though it's 38-0, Gary Anderson is not satisfied with his defense. Before that defensive series, he went up to each position group on the defensive side and said, let's not let our heads down. Let's be great. And it may be referencing when he was really upset. Wisconsin gave up 2 late touchdowns in the Illinois game. Even though that game was decided, he brought that up in the postgame then. He doesn't want to have a similar situation happen now.
Excellent point, Lisa. 2nd and 10 at the 49-yard line. Clement with the carry, and Clement a couple before Yannick Cujo-Virgil to make the tackle.
You know, you talk about defense, how you improve. Here's against Illinois. Aaron Bailey, quarterback, comes in and he's running the read option. And you can see it's the same play that Maryland is running, except Wisconsin has learned how to defend that play. They're in better position and make tackles. They've improved during the bye week.
I was going to say that bye week was really put to good use by Dave Aranda and his entire defensive staff. This Badger defense was good coming in. They've been great today. 3rd down and 8. Stavi under some pressure, and he just got rid of it. 3 Terrapins in the backfield. Jesse Anabanam, Yannick Cujo-Virgil, the first 2 to get there, and there's an injured Terp down, and it's Yannick Cujo-Virgil still down.
Let's see if he... He's got in a weird position against the quarterback, and then another guy comes in from the other side, and normally the guy in the middle that gets sandwiched gets hurt, but the backboard got hurt there.
The guy they call Cujo being checked out right now. And his career at Seton Hall. Transferred in and now up and a little bit of a limp as he makes his way to the sideline. Hopefully he'll be okay. Fourth down and 8, and the punt team coming on for Wisconsin. William Likely back deep to return. I'm not sure what area Gary Anderson will be most pleased with today, his offense, his defense, or his punt coverage. Because taking out William Likely is not an easy task, and they've done that so far today. Fair catch signaled by Likely and made inside the 20-yard line. First down for Maryland, deep in their own end once more. Coming up today on the Fox Sports family of networks at 3:30, it's college football on Fox, and Fox Sports 1 as TCU hosts Texas Tech, and unbeaten Marshall takes on Florida Atlantic. Then tonight on Fox, it's Game 4 of the World Series from San Francisco. Then at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, Utah takes on USC. Full day on the Fox family of networks.
We asked Gary Anderson, how about the bye week? He says, come see me after the game and I'll tell you. I guess we should go see him. He'll be in a good mood.
I think he will. From the 18-yard line on first down. Brown with the toss. Diggs, his first catch of the day, and Stephon Diggs out to the 24-yard line. Now the question is, will it be a catch because it was behind the line of scrimmage? They're going to call it a carry and not a catch, so he still does not have a catch today.
No, that was backward. It goes in the running stats, just like an option.
Nothing doing there at the 26-yard line. We'll see it again. The Stephon Diggs catch that's not a catch. When is a catch, not a catch?
He fakes the run and he starts the option, and he throws it out there, and that ball is definitely backwards. Good blocking by the wide receiver, and for all purposes, that is a run play.
Third down and 2 for Maryland. Still looking for their first down since the third possession of the ball game. Brown on the option, trying to get to the edge. Nothing doing again. Ross couldn't get by Landish as Derek Landish is there once more. Man, what a game he has played today for Wisconsin.
You know, he's been asked so many times, how is he going to replace Chris Borland? And he said, well, that's not, I'm going to just try to do the best I can. Well, he's doing an awful good imitation of him today. Borland's in the house, and I'm sure he's proud of him.
And that is going to be the end of the third quarter. Hold on, a timeout was called before the end of the third quarter. So a timeout was taken before the end of the third quarter. My guess is to play with the wind.
Maryland called timeout with 2 seconds left on the clock. Timeout Maryland, they're first.
Maryland calling timeout. They're going to punt. They want to punt with the wind.
No, he called timeout because he knows the jump around's coming. He just wants to tick those students off. And he did a good job. Did you hear him boo? Huh?
So this wind, which is, you know, either that or the angry students, one of the two.
It doesn't look like much.
Flags are whipping a little bit atop the goalposts here, but not a whole lot to talk about from that standpoint. But Randy Edsall says, you know what? Probably not going to need these timeouts late in the game. Let's use one now.
Yeah.
So Nathan Renfro back out to punt. Erickson and Doe back deep. Renfro on to punt it away for Maryland. Doe trying to get there. He says, everybody get away. It'll take a Maryland roll, and it'll die inside the 25-yard line. It is time for one of the great college football traditions, jump around in Madison when we return. 8-0, Wisconsin with the lead. Time to start jumping around in Madison.
Hold on, baby.
moments in college football anywhere in the country, the jump around. And when the first time you're here in the press box, it's a little disconcerting because the press box is moving as the jumping occurs.
Moving?
Yeah, shaking, rattling, rolling.
No place for the timid.
1st and 10 at the 33. Tanner McAvoy back in at quarterback for Wisconsin on first down. Kenzel Doe with the sweep, and Doe tiptoeing along the sideline picks up 3 before Jeremiah Johnson's nudge got him out of bounds at the 36-yard line. You saw during the jump route, even some of the players, Melvin Gordon and company, getting the jump around going on the field. Up 38, you can do that. Injured Maryland Terrapin, slow to get up, is Cole Farron. He's one of the 2 players from the Power 5 conferences coming into this weekend that had 60 tackles, 4 tackles for losses, and 4 passes defended. In conference games this year, Coach, he was averaging nearly 16 tackles per game. He'd been playing very well when the lights came on in Big Ten conference season.
Yeah, he had when they played Ohio State weeks ago, he had 17 tackles all over the field. And
with the 38-point lead. Just getting started in this 4th quarter. Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington with us on the field. Wisconsin trying to shorten this game now with the big lead. Clement and Strauss in the backfield. Clement the carry. And Clement caught from behind as he made it through the hole. Andre Monroe. So Wisconsin feeling very good about this one against Maryland, and the remaining schedule. November is going to be very interesting. 3 of the 5 games on the road, but look at that finish. Nebraska at Iowa and Minnesota at home, the 3 teams that they're likely going to be competing for a West Division championship against.
yeah, they play at Rutgers. I think Gary Nova got hurt in the game today at Nebraska, then at Purdue, but they got Nebraska and Minnesota home, and I'm sure they're really happy about that.
3rd down and 3. Kept by McAvoy. And McAvoy into the secondary. Tanner McAvoy on the run down the sideline. McAvoy to the 20 with a convoy in front. McAvoy's going to take it to the house for the touchdown. Wisconsin.
I'll tell you what's really important about that play right there. You know, morale is so important. We talked about Stavi throwing the ball today, and Tanner McAvoy getting that play. He'll feel good about himself, and then after the game, Gary Anderson can tell these guys, we're going to need both you guys to achieve what we want to achieve, regardless of who starts.
He's gotten good quarterback play from both of his quarterbacks today. 45-0. Wisconsin dominating at home. Tanner McAvoy, 60 yards. Little nifty footwork in between, beginning to end, as he takes it in for 6 to extend the Badger lead.
BTN is brought to you by Cialis. By State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Own a special edition Midnight Black Gator. Visit your dealer today before they're gone.
Everything looking good for the Badgers today and their 2 quarterbacks. A 45-0 lead after the 60-yard touchdown run from Tanner McAvoy. And the kickoff through the end zone for the touchback over the head of Stephon Diggs. Out to the 25-yard line comes Maryland. This Terrapin team 5-2 on the year, but they have not been able to get it going here this afternoon on the road.
I'll tell you who's getting a workout. Number 36, Joe Ferguson on that kickoff team, and he just happens to be the grandson of Barry Alvarez.
Terps 24 points scored in each game this year or more. First time in program history they had done that, but we're going to have to do a lot of work in this 4th quarter to keep that going. Wisconsin's done a number today on the Terrapins offense. And on first down, the carry for Wes Brown. Brown to the edge and down at the 31-yard line, a 6-yard pickup. That's now 94 yards of offense for Maryland. They have 111 yards in return yardage today. When you have that much return yardage, it tells you you're getting a lot of returns, which means the other team's kicking a lot. Usually that's not a good thing if those are kickoff return yards, and a lot of those are. 2nd and 4 at the 31-yard line. Up the middle for Brown. Jake Kiefer in there to make the tackle near the 33-yard line. Short of the first down by a couple, and it'll bring up 3rd down for Maryland.
Jake Kiefer with the tackle. 2 on the play, off mark on the 33-yard line.
3rd down and 2. Three for 14 on 3rd down. 0 for their last 9. This one a 3rd and 2. And a flag comes in and another penalty against Maryland on the offensive line.
Ball start, offense, number 48. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That's the freshman tight end Derek Hayward's 6th offensive penalty today against Maryland.
Yeah, just another unforced error. You can see him right there. He just flinches a little bit when the defensive line for Wisconsin shifts. He's a little nervous in there. Those unforced errors.
7 penalties overall, 6 offensive penalties. And now a 3rd and 7 back at the 28-yard line. Brown in motion out of the backfield. Brown to the air, finds Brown, and Brown trying to break the tackle of Derek Landish, and Landish hangs on to hold him short of the first down. And the punt team will come on again as Wisconsin does the job. Another 3 and out pitched by this Badger D. What a day they have had against Maryland. 9 straight 3 and outs.
Well, if you're a defensive player, defensive coach, shutout, that's big. It's so hard to shut out teams. You're talking about playing a team that averaging a lot of points.
You mentioned over 24 in each game as Doe calls for and makes the fair catch near the 21-yard line. 45-0 Wisconsin. The defense loving this day. Offense not too unhappy either. $45-0 lead. Those fans are still fired up here at Camp Randall Stadium. I'm Kevin Kugler alongside Glenn Mason with Lisa Byington on the field. They'll tell them their home team's up 45. They're cheering like it's a tie game in the 4th quarter. Clement on first down, trying to pick his way forward. And Clement to the 23-yard line picks up a pair as we head back to Chicago. A T-Mobile studio update with Dave Revson.
Kevin, thanks. Going down to the wire in Champaign with Minnesota protecting a 3-point lead. David Cobb fumbles deep in his own territory. D'Angelo Bentley scoops and scores. The Illini are 5.5 minutes away from a huge upset.
Holy cow.
Didn't see that one coming.
The scoop and score. How costly fumble that may be for Minnesota. Still time, and I know Dave will keep us up to date on that one. 2nd and 8 from the 23-yard line as Clement picks his way across the 28-yard line. Anthony Nixon on the tackle, and our Duluth trading hardest working players. Yeah, this offensive line, give them all the nod.
But you got to do it because they all got to work together. You just can't single out one guy. I was really impressed with those guys start to finish today, and it might not be their big rushing day, but they played great.
Gave their quarterbacks time to throw, open lanes for the runners to run, and a 45-point lead is the result as we slide under 10 minutes to play on 3rd down and 3. Clement again picking his way forward as the first down. 34-yard line is where he is stopped by Ucandu and a first down.
You talked about those Wisconsin students having a good time, and they do have a good time. I had a daughter that went to school here and graduated in accounting, and met her fiance here as a Wisconsin graduate, Alyssa, and Tony Schrank, soon to be my son-in-law. Can you imagine that? I'm not old enough to have a son.
I can't imagine you have kids yet. I mean, at 24 like you are. Clement. Well, your daughter's on the phone. She says there's no way you're 24.
Yeah.
But she does appreciate you supporting her throughout her time here at Wisconsin.
You know, over the years, the fans of Wisconsin, they see different players, they've seen different coaches, but for the most part, it's the same offense. It's a big offensive line that really knows how to run the ball and play action pass. It's a totally different defense, but Barry Alvarez started, and with Brett Bielema, now it's Gary Anderson, and not much changes on that offense.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? This offense has been getting it done for a lot of years. 2nd and 5 at the 39-yard line. Clement banging his way forward. Good tackle made in the open field by L.A. Gorey, who's had a solid day indeed for Maryland. Gorey and Farron, we've seen good play from them. We've seen Davis step up in a big way from the secondary for Maryland, but unfortunately for Maryland, not enough of those kind of plays made today against the Badgers.
Well, you know, from Maryland's standpoint, you don't go from a poor rush defense to a great rush defense overnight. It's hard to get well against this type of attack, but I really think they improved in this game from what I've seen on film.
3rd down and 5 at the 39-yard line. McAvoy slings it for the 1st down, and the ball's fumbled, ripped out of the hands, and is recovered near midfield. A Badger came flying in at the end, looked like Havenstein, and he's in there to help recover the football. Austin Traylor was down at the bottom of that pile. He fell on top of the ball, and Havenstein there as well.
You want Havenstein? He's like a dog on a bone going off this. Watch it. That is a big guy going after the ball. I guarantee he gets his mitts on it. No one's going to get it away from him.
Traylor able to recover his own fumble somehow. Looked like an opportunity for Sean Davis, who thought about the scoop and the score, and instead the football belongs to Wisconsin, and they can keep it rolling. 1st down and 10 at midfield. McAvoy to the air once more. A 1st down inside the 40-yard line. George Rushing with the catch and a 1st down.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing, and believe me, they're not trying to run the score up on Maryland, but they have to find out about these quarterbacks, and what they have to find out about them is the forward pass. And you know, Stavi got better, and we know Tanner McAvoy can run the ball. We've seen him. If he can effectively move the ball by throwing it, that'll be a home run for him.
Well, it'll be an interesting week of practice for Wisconsin leading into that game at Rutgers, because both quarterbacks have done good things today. 1st down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Clement breaks one tackle. Clement diving across the 30-yard line down to the 29. Sean Davis on the tackle. Davis has had a big day. 16 tackles before that one. Now 17 for Davis.
8 on the play.
And I'll tell you about the passing game. One thing we know about Rutgers is they do a good job of rushing the passer. They have a lot of sacks on the season.
Second and 2 at the 29. Clement again. Clement with a 1st down. And Clement nudged out inside the 20 by Anthony Nixon. Another 1st down for the Badgers.
You see Clement went by that sideline. There's a lot of backs that step out of bounds. Now he planted his foot, went back toward that defender.
Well, he knows he wants to stay in bounds. He wants to do as much as he can to keep it going. Of course, the clock restarts after it's set at the 18-yard line once the chains are moved. That wind's picked up a little bit on the field. Strong at the back right now of the Badgers. From the 18 on 1st down, Clement again. Nice cutback. Clement inside the 10. Down inside the 5 near the 3. It'll be 1st and goal. Jermaine Carter Jr. saves the touchdown with the tackle for Maryland, but it's 1st and goal, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that was Corey Clement carrying the ball, but that was a Melvin Gordon move. Plant that foot, go back inside, keep the shoulder square, keep that ball high and tight, and then get low when you're to get some contact. There you go. Star of the, he's a pretty good star now, but he's the guy for next year.
The 11th play of the drive coming up. 8 Clement plays on this drive. Clement again and into the end zone for the first time today and the 5th time this year. Corey Clement putting the cherry on top of this one for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Here we go again. Look at that offensive line come up with the flat backs and make the blocks. They make the move on the inside. Picked up by the offensive lineman. Go ahead and stun, but Tyler Barnes, the left tackle, did a great job planting that left foot and picking up the inside slant by the defensive end.
Taglianone on for the extra point. He bangs it home. And Wisconsin doing it all today. 52-0. Lest you had thought that the Wisconsin Badgers were not going to be a player in the West Division. This is certainly announcing that Wisconsin is very much a player, not only in the West Division, but in the Big Ten race. 52-0. Taking apart a very solid Maryland football team that has scored at least 24 points in every game this year. And Maryland's not been on the end of one like this season. Certainly a disappointing day for the Terrapins, who'll have to rebound. They go on the road to Penn State next week. 1 yard deep. Diggs will bring it out. Diggs to the 15. Diggs across the 25 and down near the 27-yard line. Our John Deere Gator game-changing performance goes to a game-changer, Melvin Gordon. 3 touchdowns, 15 rushing scores in his last 5 games.
Yeah, just another day at the office for that guy. And as we mentioned, you know, he's got the ability to take it 40, 50, 60 yards. And we really didn't see that, but he had a good day today and dominated this game. And offensive line, a lot of credit to them.
5th career game with 3 rushing touchdowns or more for Melvin Gordon. From the 27-yard line, Wes Brown with the carry for Maryland, and Michael Trotter with the tackle. When you were coaching, if you suffered a bad loss, and I don't know if they ever had one quite like this for Maryland, but if you're if you're the Maryland coaching staff, how much do you do with this film after a game like this?
You know, not much. Really, you just correct some errors and you forget about it. You're totally dominated. You throw it away and you move on to next week. And don't keep reinforcing the negative in their mind.
2nd and 8 from the 29. C.J. Brown going to run it. Brown with some running room and a first down. The first down in a long time, since the 3rd possession of the game, as we check in with Lisa Byington.
Michael Trotter in on both of those last 2 plays. His brother Marcus, a starter here at linebacker, and Michael, a walk-on. The neat story about these two, Dana Trotter, their mother, wasn't supposed to have them, let alone have them be twins. She told me this week she had 4 miscarriages, was going to give up on having children, decided to try again. Each one, guys, weighed 7 pounds, so 14 pounds of baby she was carrying around. But a neat story. I mean, I've been watching them all day long, and it's kind of cool to celebrate this defensive battle, but let alone with a brother here today.
What a neat story indeed, as Leon Jacobs makes the stop. Marcus Trotter, who had such a big game to open the season against LSU. He had 12 tackles, a career high. Of course, Michael Trotter, who's been in and out off the bench throughout the course of his career. These 2 guys have just got to be loving today and what that defense has done. 2nd and 5 at the 45-yard line. Brown to the air, a completion to Long, and a first down into Badger territory at the 44. Leon Jacobs on the tackle. Our State Farm postgame report coming up following our game today, and we'll give you an update on everything that's going on around the world of the Big Ten, and maybe a big upset, as Dave mentioned earlier. Illinois and Minnesota were battling it out earlier. A complete rundown with scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. 44-yard line on first down. Wes Brown cuts back, and Brown down near the 37-yard line of Wisconsin. 7-yard pickup. 2:20 to go. Joe Ferguson, grandson of Barry Alvarez, in there on the stop. His dad was a linebacker at Nebraska. Not one of great renown. Played in the mid to late 80s and lettered there in 87 and 88. So a third generation defensive player. Nice move by Brown to break the first contain. Austin Hudson, the freshman from Tampa, Florida, able to get in there and make the stop.
Yeah, we were talking to Barry Alvarez in his office yesterday, and we kind of laughed, and he says, you know, I've been married to Cindy, his wife, for over 40 years now. I've been in football. She never once talked about the kickoff team, and now that's all she watches.
Tells everybody to be quiet when it's kickoff time. From the 33 on first down to the air. The catch is made by Winfrey. Winfrey breaking a tackle, and Winfrey with a first down to the 21-yard line. Still no catches today for Stephon Diggs. And he's had at least one in 25 straight games. You pick out a guy on that offense that you want to take out of the game, Diggs would probably be that guy, and they've taken him completely out of the game. At the 21 on first down. Brown with the pump, looking for Diggs in the end zone. Stephon Diggs with the touchdown. The shutout is gone. Diggs with his first catch, now 26 straight with a reception, his 5th touchdown catch of the year.
I guess he heard you. Huh? You watch right here. Little stop and go, double move. Golden went for the fake, got beat over the top. Evan Golden, he won't like sitting in the film room tomorrow with Dave Aranda, I can promise you.
Braddock on for the extra point, and the kick is good. Small consolation, though, for Maryland, I'm sure. The touchdown with 57 seconds to go, making it a 52-7 game, but something perhaps to talk about on a positive note going into next week's trip to Penn State.
Well, I promise you it'll be a learning experience for some of those guys that are in there on defense. And I mean, you're going to play that tight coverage. You got to be careful if you go for that one move. And you know, normally in college football, you tell if you go for a double move and the guy goes by you, just grab and hold him. You know, really, just let the flag go, but you don't give up the points. Don't worry about the penalty.
Maryland upcoming. We mentioned next week the Terrapins go back on the road. They take on Penn State. Then the bye week before you and I are back out there with Lisa for the Michigan State game in prime time on BTN. And then at Michigan and home for Rutgers to close the season. That's not an easy trek in the month of November for a Maryland team that's still going to be one win shy of bowl eligibility. And that's certainly one of the things that Randy Edsall wants to see for his team, the chance to play on into December or January.
Yeah, but if I'm Coach Edsall, you look at that, that's workable. Right there.
Absolutely.
We've got players, and we get better defensively, and we've got the ability to play better offensively. We're going to get another win.
Across the 25 and down at the 26-yard line is Latrell Jamerson. Our State Farm post game coming up. Dave, Jerry, and Howard are probably finishing up tabulating the early results and the impact it has on the battle for the belt. I know you're firmly in Jerry DiNardo's corner at all times in all things, Glenn Mason.
Jerry in that belt. I got to be honest with you, I root for Howard. I do. I pull for Howard, baby. Howard's my man.
Bart Houston is in at quarterback. We've seen Bart Houston today. He had one punt that was about 5 yards in the air and 47 yards on the ground. It was a 52-yard punt. And a little bit of running room to the outside, looking for room. And all the way out across the 40-yard line. And Ballway is there for the carry. The 43 and a first down.
You know, when you're a down the line kid, a backup, you don't get to play very much, and you get a chance to play, and your girlfriend's sitting in the stands, and mom and dad are there, they're watching on BTN. Man, you're going to play as hard as you get. Sometimes it's worse when you put the second and third teamers in compared to the first teamer that's kind of worn out and just trying to get the game over and go back to his apartment.
And that's going to be the final play of the game. There will be no more snaps. And a dominant performance today for the Badgers, who are 11-1 at home under Gary Anderson. And, of course, they've got some big games at home in the month of November in the West Division. We'll return to Camp Randall Stadium to wrap things up in a moment. Wisconsin with a 52-7 win over Maryland.